John Gibson, president of Tripwire Interactive, and
I'm Tony Gillham. I'm the external producer on the Rising Storm.
And what are we going to show them today, Tony?
And today we're going to be looking at John giving a walkthrough of some of the maps that are going to be released with Rising Storm. And we're also going to be pointing out to you some of the key features of the game. In particular, we're going to be looking at some of the features which we use to help balance out the two sides, the Japanese and the Americans. So we're going to start off by looking at the first map here, which is Hanto. Hanto is a jungle map, and in this we actually have the Japanese attacking. They're crossing the Hanto River in Papua New Guinea, and they're assaulting the positions which are being held by the US cavalry units. And we're going to be using this as an opportunity to show you the first of the features which we're going to be bringing in to make people, basically to make people want to play Japanese. The Japanese have a bit of a sort of technological problem, really. They generally have bolt-action rifles. As you can see right here, John is using the Arisaka Type 38 by the looks of it. Whilst we're going across here, let's just take a look at some of the features here. Some of the better Unreal features. We have the dynamic water. You can see the ripples there. And if you take a look around at the environment, you'll see that we have exponential height fog, which kind of adds to a really nice ambience for the area. Now, John's actually approaching the American line of defense. You can see they have a bunch of emplaced machine guns and so on. And whoa, good shot. And what he's doing there is using the Type 89 grenade discharger, in other words, what we call a knee mortar. He started off by firing that directly, and now what he's doing is he's going to be firing it indirectly. Now this is one of the, if you like, the cool toys that the Japanese have, which are going to make it fun to play Japanese. What you can see here is he's actually got himself behind cover, and he's raining down shells right now onto the American positions from a position of relative safety. So that's a pretty cool thing for the Japanese to have there, and it certainly does help them when it comes to dislodging American defensive positions. Okay, so now the Japanese are getting into the, quite enthusiastically getting into the American positions, and we can see at the bottom of the screen there that they're actually starting to cap the objective. They've got numerical superiority in the objective, so we can see that the meter is showing it switching over to Japanese possession. And they're going to cap that any second now. Okay, now another thing that the Japanese have, which makes it kind of cool to play the Japanese, is this grenade. You see it's got a percussion cap on the end. So what you can do with that is actually plant it in the ground. Now what you've got there is a booby trap. You've got basically a small anti-personnel landmine. And any American that walks onto that is going to find pretty quickly that that's not a good place to walk. John just demonstrated there that those things hurt. Right, so now that the Japanese are moving into the second cap zone, John's actually going to spawn as the commander. And as the commander, he's going to be able to trigger one of the other key features for the Japanese, one of the things that really make it quite cool to be Japanese, and that is the Banzai charge. Red Orchestra 2 has got a pretty well-established suppression dynamic there. If you get shot at, if bullets start flying around your head, you get suppressed. You blur out, you grey out, and it's harder for you to actually aim at your enemy. So what we do here with the Banzai charge is that you actually, as a Japanese person charging into battle, you're less easily suppressed. You can hear bullets whizzing around him, but he's still going straight in there without any suppression. It also means that you're less easily injured. On the other side of the coin, though, the Americans actually, they're panicking when they see these guys, because these guys are all hyped up on adrenaline and, I don't know, love of the emperor, etc. And they're a pretty scary proposition. So the Americans actually, on the receiving end, are actually quite suppressed. It makes it very difficult for them to fight effectively, and for them to draw a bead on the attackers. And so, as you can see, John got hit a couple of times there. He's so full of adrenaline, he hardly even felt it. Okay, so that's a really useful kind of technique there for tipping the battle over at those crucial times when, say, you're just about to take an objective or maybe just about to lose an objective. You call up one of those and it will very quickly tip the gameplay over in your favour. What we're going to do now is move over to the next map, which is Guadalcanal. Again, we have the Japanese attacking. This was kind of the turning point of the Pacific War. Up until that point, the Japanese had just been taking possessions of the Americans left, right and center. But the 1st Marine Division there actually landed on the north side of the Guadalcanal island, thinking that they were up against a fairly small force of Japanese. What they didn't realize is that there were actually about 3 or 4 times the number they were expecting there in the jungle. And pretty much on a nightly basis during the height of the battle, the Japanese were trying to recapture Henderson Field, which is the airfield you can see over in the background there with all the searchlights. It's a nighttime map, which means that the lighting plays a very big role. If you're off in the bushes and that, then you're fairly hard to spot, and you do need to keep your eyes peeled for the enemy. But what you can see there is we've got a lot of dynamic lighting going on. For example, the commander now has just called in flares over the objectives so that his troops have an idea where they're supposed to be attacking. You can also see there are lots of headlights, lots of distant fires and so on. So it's a fairly active lighting environment. In addition to the flares that are coming down, Red Orchestra players can always call up tactical information by hitting the T key. This is kind of on-demand tactical information. It means that you don't always have the information spamming you if you don't particularly need it. So for example, if you want to know where the next objective is, you just hit the T key and it will tell you where you should be going. If anything major happens within the battle, again, you get the information saying you should be paying attention to this. Look, the enemy have just capped an objective. As you can see here, the Axis are now attacking one of the caps, and you get that information. So it's a lot more dynamic information system than people are perhaps used to seeing in a first-person shooter. And we think that this is kind of useful, particularly for new players of the game, you know, when they're not so familiar with what's going on. And one of the emphases that we actually have here in the design of Rising Storm is that we're going to be kind of drip feeding the information, gradually sort of really like tutorializing the gameplay and giving relevant pieces of information to the players as they progress through. So most players would start off playing in action mode. If they're new to the game, they'd be playing in action mode. It'd be relatively familiar type of gameplay for them, you know, crosshairs, a fairly comfortable damage model for them. And they'll also be getting dynamic hints coming up saying, you know, perhaps you should try, you know, hitting the T button to get tactical information. So it's kind of like an in-game tutorial process for the players to help to kind of gently introduce them to what could otherwise be a fairly sort of steep learning curve. Okay, so I think we've seen pretty much what we need to see there from Guadalcanal. We've got some fairly intense nighttime fighting. And what we're going to do now is switch over to another environment, Saipan, which is a daytime map, and it's actually a fairly urban environment. Now, Saipan's a Japanese colony. It has a very famous sugar mill there. It was part of an iconic. It was an iconic part of the battle, and we're going to be seeing the U.S. Marines with their slightly better, you know, slightly higher tech firepower, going in and trying to dislodge the Japanese from this town, the town of Charancanoa. So, what we'll do here, what John's going to do here, is spawn as a U.S. Marine Corps rifleman. And he's going to be using the Garand semi-automatic rifle, a very famous weapon and a pretty cool weapon as well. And we're going to notice a couple of features of the Garand as he's playing with it. Okay, you heard the ping there. Listen out for that ping. That ping tells you that a guy has just emptied his clip. If you're a Japanese and you hear that ping, you're going to be thinking, okay, now's the time to bum rush the guy, yeah? Time to get out there and charge at him. And very often that's the case. However, one of the things that the more experienced veterans using the Garand rifle realized was that you could fake that sound. Yep, you could actually, they would keep an empty clip in their pocket, and every now and then they would just ding the empty clip off their helmet, making the Japanese think, aha, he's out of ammunition. They'd come running up towards him and find out, aha, he had a full clip in there after all. That's one of the kind of more advanced techniques that a rifleman could use. You know, as he levels up with that gun, he would kind of learn that trick. So it's you know, it's the kind of attention to detail there that I think is going to make it really rewarding for the players when they, you know, they find out a little bit about the weapons. They find out a little bit about how the real life veterans used to fight.
Ready for you guys to have
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to let you have a run through, and we'll be commenting on your elite playing skills. So.
No.
Okay, so we've now got the trusty Gamereactor cameraman trying out the game for the first time, and he's playing as a rifleman. The first thing he should know is that, yep, he's found it out. Right mouse click is iron sights, and he's also discovered what happens when you bleed out. He's greying out there. He's got a chance to get a few shots off, but basically when that happens you're pretty much toast. Okay, so he's now spawning. He can see the tactical information, which, as I said, he can call up any time by hitting the T key. And another really important key to use is the control key. That's kind of context sensitive. If you are next to cover, then the control key will actually lock you into cover. As you can see, he's gone into cover there. He's come out of it again. And he's leaning around the cover there. And if he goes up to these sandbags right now, oh, perhaps take out the Japanese guy first. Yeah, you may have to rush him there. Yep, don't worry, your buddy took care of it for you. There you go, good, I think you got him. Okay, lock onto the cover there just by hitting, or mantle over it if you like. Okay, if you lock onto the cover, one of the things you'll find is that you can actually blind fire over the cover. Try firing now. Just hold the, okay, so he's blind firing. If you do iron sights, you would actually lean over the cover, that's it. So you've, perhaps it's not so useful with a Garand, but if you've got a Tommy gun or such like, you can actually send a lot of lead downrange there without actually risking yourself. Okay, so he's just about to enter the cap zone now. It's 50-50 in the cap zone there. They have equal numbers of either side in there. If he can get a few more of his dudes into the zone, or he can kill a couple of the Japanese, then his team is going to start capping. You can see that all on the display down at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, if you hit the B key, you can call up some support. Okay, so now a couple of his men are going to join him in the cap zone. That's going to help them to cap, because at the moment the Japanese have got superiority. Oh, he's just leaving the cap zone, but yep, taking out the Japanese guy, so worth moving. There you heard the ping, time for a reload. Okay, yeah, he's doing pretty well. He's using the cover quite well here. You can use a G to throw a grenade. Might be an idea to put... Oh! Probably should have checked your six there. Seems like a guy was sneaking up behind you. Yep. I think what we'll do now is, John, if you could just change the map. What we're going to do is let the guy try playing as the Americans on Iwo Jima. And we're also going to let him try to use one of the weapons which I think everybody would love to see in this game. You'll be playing as a flamethrower operator. Thing to remember about a flamethrower is flame hurts. It bounces off of walls as well, so you've got to be careful with splashback. You can quite easily set fire to yourself. Another thing is that the flamethrower is pretty heavy, so you're not going to be quite as agile as the rest of the troops on the battlefield. And I think the final thing to remember is that the minute the Japanese see your flame, they're going to be immediately all over you. Yeah, they do not like flamethrowers, and they're going to make it their mission to shoot you. Okay, and flamethrower, third up. That's it, and continue. Okay, so we're actually on Iwo Jima now. If you could just do a quick pan around, you'll see to your left, when you start, you'll see to your left Mount Suribachi there, the iconic mountain with the guys who put the flag up on the top. If you look out to sea, you'll see the US Navy offshore there firing bombardments towards the Japanese defences. The Japanese were very well dug in here. It was a very tough fight to clear them all out. And it's one of the places where a flamethrower was a very, very useful weapon for cleaning out bunkers, pillboxes and such like. Okay, so he's just coming up over the second embankment here, and he's going to be coming into the Japanese lines of defence. The flamethrower's got a range of about 20 metres. So, yep, okay, send your men over there. Yep, there you go. Okay. It seems like you've got some guys actually already up to that pillbox there, so that might be a good one to head to. Just thread your way in and out through the barbed wire. And I'd say, just for luck, give that thing a squirt. Careful of your own guys, though. Yeah, you've got your own guy in there, so do be careful. Yep. Oh, there you go. I think you got him. Be careful of the splashback. You nearly burnt yourself there. Okay. Now, there's going to be a lot of Japanese. There you go. Oh, nice shot. Nice shot. Bit of hibachi going on there. Oh, and... yeah. Yeah, these really are not happy Japanese people right now. Okay, you'll notice you're getting slightly suppressed there. There's a lot of bullets whizzing near your head. The Japanese do start coming at you the minute they see that flamethrower. Now do be careful, you've only got a limited amount of fuel here. Okay, there's another Japanese guy just up there behind the rock. Okay, time to bug out maybe, getting a little bit hot round there. Okay, so as you can see, that's a really effective weapon at close quarters, but it does have some drawbacks. You know, you do become a target the minute you stop. Hit control button, you just got, that's it, yep, a quick bandage there. On, looked like your arm got shot there. Yep, you've run out of fuel there. Okay, you can switch weapon, of course, by using the mouse wheel to switch to your secondary weapon, which is the pistol.
At this point, Tony, you
yep.
can actually do an ammo resupply as well.
Yep, yep. You were getting suppressed by your own ghost fire. He's spraying around a little bit wildly there. Okay, yep, so I think that gives you a pretty good taste for what Rising Storm's going to be bringing to the first-person shooter aficionado. And perhaps we can go now to some questions and answers.